This is how you do a crime drama well. Looking at you, Night Country. Like, comment, subscribe, and tell a friend if you haven't. And if you're new here, check out the channel. Let me know what you think. Alright, let's dive into Tokyo Vice Season 2. I really hope this season put up some good numbers because the way Zaslav has been axing quality series over at Warner Brothers has made me nervous that we're going to lose another good one. And if I'm being totally honest, I was shocked when this series got renewed for a second season. And that is certainly no insult toward the quality of Tokyo Vice. I believe it's one of the best shows currently available. But I just never hear anything about it. Outside of my brother, I know zero people who actually watch this show. I never see anything pop up about it on social media or YouTube, and it's a damn shame because Tokyo Vice is very, very good. An intelligently written, thrilling crime drama led by fantastic performances across the board. Season 2 picks up right where Season 1 left off, with Jake and Detective Katagiri viewing the videotape left on Jake's doorstep showing Paulina's murder at the hands of one of Tozawa's thugs. From here, Season 2 hits the ground running and doesn't stop. This season continues Jake and Katagiri's vendetta to bring Tozawa to justice, but it also expands this universe and brings more attention to some of our returning favorites. We spend a large portion of this season dedicated to Sato, which I appreciated. I enjoyed his character in Season 1, and I'm glad they give him a more prominent role. Due to the events within the finale of Season 1, we meet Sato laid up in a hospital bed, unresponsive, with multiple stab wounds. He returns to his role within the Chihari Kai once he recovers, and his choice to choose mercy over vengeance toward his attacker leaves an impression on Ishida. Throughout this season, we spend a lot of time with Sato as he attempts to prevent his younger brother, Kato, from getting embroiled in this lifestyle, which Sato very much regrets himself. And it's compelling, eventually leading to a confrontation between Sato and Ishida's second-in-command, Hayama. That essentially is a fight not only for Kato's life, but also the legacy of their clan. In turn, Sato earns the respect of all of his men, eventually rising to become the new leader of the Chihari Kai after Ishida's death. Jake and Katagiri's work is just as enthralling as it was in Season 1. In fact, even more so. They both have to learn the difficult lesson that the investigations they choose to follow don't just put their lives at risk, but also those around them, with Katagiri's family continuing to be in danger of retaliation from Tozawa's clan. And these threats from the Yakuza boss even hit home for Jake, as Tozawa's reach spreads to America, potentially putting his family in jeopardy. For these two men, it's almost impossible to stop when they're hot on a trail, but during this season, they have to cope with the fact that sometimes things like this can't be rushed, and the best choice is just to wait out the enemy. I was actually impressed with the series going this route, as Tozawa is absent for much of the first half of this season. Jake and Katagiri decide to put their investigation on hold and focus on other things. I was worried that this might stall the season to a standstill or throw off the pace even. However, after the mid-season time jump and Tozawa's return, it was as good as it's ever been. I love the new addition of Detective Nagata into the fold as well. Partnering her with Katagiri only made him a better character. She helps him to develop a confidence that we haven't seen out of him before. And just when you thought Katagiri couldn't get more hard-boiled or badass, he does. Finally being allocated the proper resources to go after Tozawa. It's fantastic. Unfortunately, there are just a couple negatives, and one of them being I think Samantha had the weakest storyline this season. I do like her character, however, she just is always stuck in this constant battle of wanting to get out from under the Yakuza control and live her own life, which is fine, but then she finds her way back to Sato. And I love Sato, but she knows who he is and what he does. Now, I will say Sato and his clan are different. They aren't the typical Yakuza. They focus on peace and honor above all else, but that doesn't negate the fact that I just feel like Samantha takes 2 steps back every time she takes 1 step forward. I also wasn't a fan of her little fling with Masahiro. I get the point of this character. He was her way out of her binds with the Yakuza, and that's fine. I just don't think it was executed as well as it could have been. He's just sort of killed unceremoniously, and we don't really get a lot of reaction out of her, and it's just sort of weird. And then she's right back to Sato. And I like her and Sato as a couple too, so it's conflicting, and that's the difficult part. I just want her character to be not so wishy-washy. Sato has seemed to embrace who he has become, and I just wish that her character would do the same. Tozawa is just as menacing as he is in Season 1. He returns to the show with a fury, taking out Yakuza leaders left and right in an attempt to take full control and gain indisputable power through his influence with figures inside the government. It's so satisfying when he finally gets what's coming to him and all of the Yakuza clan leaders turn against him, just sealing his fate. Looking back, I think my favorite aspect of this series is how it never attempts to explain to you what is right or what is wrong. Jake's job as a journalist is to write stories and present the facts to the reader. Katagiri's job as a detective is to bring down criminals within the bounds of the law. The issue is that I think some people still fail to realize in this day and age that sometimes to get a job done, you have to get your hands a little dirty. Both of these men realize this. In their mind, if they want to bring down this threat, they need to start playing by Tozawa's rules. Jake betrays his journalistic integrity by giving up a source to gain evidence of Tozawa's partnership with the FBI. Katagiri, knowing that this evidence won't make it through the paper, decides to gift it to Sato, in the hopes that Sato will rally the other clans against Tozawa. And eventually, Tozawa meets his doom in a bloody end instead of behind a cell. And it's one of these instances where you're sort of caught in the middle. You know how they went about taking him down wasn't the legal or even morally right way to do it, but it was the necessary way. Katagiri even says this to Jake when Jake confronts him about giving the FBI documents to Sato, and Katagiri responds with something along the lines of, "Sometimes the right choice isn't the moral choice." And it's heavy shit, man. And this show is chock full of instances where the characters have to make morally complex, difficult choices, and I appreciate a show that presents those types of moments. This show remains one of my favorites on TV. It continues to impress me with its elaborate storytelling, the way it weaves all of these stories together, and drags you down into the seedy Tokyo criminal underbelly. I also enjoy the fact that we really have 3 POV figures in Jake, Katagiri, and Sato. A lot of times I feel these crime dramas only present one side of these stories, through the lens of the main 1 to 2 characters, usually the detectives or investigators. Here, you get the story presented through the eyes of the detective, the journalist, and even the criminal, and it's an interesting way to do it because you get the whole story from all sides. This show really is a masterclass in how to craft a riveting neo-noir style crime drama. My only hope is that it doesn't get axed. It deserves way more than an abrupt cancellation. I'm begging you, if you haven't watched Tokyo Vice, do it, because you won't regret it.